WSAN Radio, the Ron G Morning Show. Our special guest is Dr. Stephvanie Wynn.
Yes.
If you don't mind, since I got you on board and people are chiming in already, you want to get started right now a little early?
Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay, sure.
They already chomping at the bits.
All right. All
This is
right.
this is something I love. I love it. Um, Before we get started, I'm also tell everybody that um, Dr. Wynn reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I went back and said I like it. Then I started reading about what you do, and I turned around right away. You want to be a guest on my show?
You did, yes. I must say I was put onto your show because I am the president and founder of Black Globe International Pageants.
Mhm.
It's the pageant that brings you to stardom. And I work with a lot of outstanding, impactful professional women, and we help get them visible and on stage. And so one of my queens, the international queen, I have three divisions: Miss, ages 18 and up to 35. Ms., that's my grown and sexy division, they're 36 and better. And then my Mrs. division, who is my jewel of the married woman. Well, my Mrs. Black Globe International was in San Antonio for an event. And she said, Dr. Wynn, you have to meet this guy. You have to listen to this guy's station. He's awesome. So my Mrs. Black Globe International, Joy Roderick, she is originally from Canada. She'll be going back to Canada. She's there in Texas now, but she definitely was loving you. So that's how I ended up
Wow,
finding you.
man, I feel honored for that. Somebody actually listened to me. I'm just kidding.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Well, let's go ahead and get this started, everybody.
All right.
This is Dr. Stephvanie Wynn, and she has done a lot of things. Of course, we just mentioned divorce prevention specialist. So, can you tell the audience a little bit more about your background and what inspired you to become a divorce prevention specialist?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, I'm trained as a licensed professional counselor, and working originally, I started out in community practice. So at a community agency, you're working with everybody. Whoever comes across the desk, you have to provide therapy for them, whether it was in your wheelhouse or not. In my private practice, I can select which clients I work with. There, I had to work with everybody. So what I ended up doing was specializing in children. I love children and I wanted to work with them. And what I found was we would do all this work and the children would go home in their environment and come back. And I basically had to start over every week with the
Hmm.
children. And it would be little things that we would do. For example, one little girl, I had a dollhouse in my office, and she wanted to play with the house while her brother was receiving services. And so I brought both of the children in. She's playing with the house. She wants to, uh, it's time to go. She doesn't want to leave. So I asked, hey, sweetheart, put the toys away so you can play with them when you come back next time. Well, she didn't want to do that. And so I'm looking at her mom. I'm like, Mom, why is she not putting the things away? Mom had been teaching her to put her things away, right? She had a whole fit. I said, listen, I understand you having a fit. And when you get done having that fit, go ahead and put those toys away before you all leave out of here. If you do not, you will not be able to play with them the next time you come. And so she's this little girl, she's about 2, 3 years old. So she doesn't put the toys away. Her mom lets her leave, didn't correct her, and they put, okay. Dr. Wynn said, you're going to need to put those toys away or you're not going to get to play with them the next time. So they leave. Now, they don't come back next week. They were sick, so they miss a week. So 2 weeks later, they come back and she goes for the toy. Hold on, hold on. Remember, I told you the last time you saw me, if you didn't put those toys back, you wouldn't be able to play with them again. She had a whole fit, just fell out on the floor. And I said, and when you get done, you sit in that chair and be quiet. And then the next time you come, you'll be able to play with the toys and you'll put them back and we won't have this problem. So she didn't get to, I stood on that. She didn't get to play. Her mother was amazed. So I didn't learn her strategy of hollering and screaming and then changing it to stop her hollering and screaming. She just sat there and hollered and screamed, and we did what we were going to do, just like she wasn't there. So mom didn't understand that. So what happened was, working with the children, I would find out that whatever we would do, we would come back and they would be different. Then one day, I started just bringing in the parents. Oh, mind you, she did sit there, she did get quiet, she did leave, and the next time they came back, she looked at me, could she play with the toys? Yeah, you can play with them this time, as long as you put them away. She put those toys away when it was time to go. I never had another problem out of her in that respect. So they do understand, they do learn, they do remember. So you have to have the patience with your children. So that's the first thing. And so the second thing, I started bringing in the parents, as I didn't want to keep going over and over the same stuff. Bring in the parents to help them understand what's going on, so they can help me do some of the same strategies and skills that the children were learning, to help the children feel better about themselves. Then I noticed they were learning things from the parents. As children, we have a concept of, it's my fault. Something has happened to someone when they were a child, and they developed the mindset that this bad thing happened to me because I'm bad. Not because the adult who did it was wrong, but because I'm bad. For example, children can sit in the window and sing a song, rain, rain, go away, come again another day. And they really think they stop the rain if it stops raining right then. So that's a thing. So when the parents are doing something to a child, that child then develops that mindset, and that stays with us throughout our life. We create the world around whatever that is. So if someone has been abused, mistreated, neglected, and neglect can come from not just the no eating and feeding, but neglect could come from a parent trying to do their best and just not there. They have to work. They're out of the house all the time. That kid doesn't understand I have to work. They understand my mom is not paying attention to me. And so we rationalize it when we get older. So I started bringing the parents in. And what I found out is, when I get the parents on the same page, mom and dad, then the kid no longer thinks they're bad. When I get mom and dad on the same page, and they're in the same house, especially, and I've had them where they were living together and not married. So we got them to the point where they were married, and the children's level of anxiety decreased substantially when the parents were getting married, or when the parents were able to communicate with each other. Even if the parents were out of the house, but now they're saying something positive about each other. When one parent is trying to turn the child against the other, I put that in quotes, they're saying something negative, the child thinks something is wrong with them. So that's how I got started, because I was caring for the children. So what I learned to do was help people get married. What I learned to do was help them communicate better, so that the house was peaceful with mom and dad. I learned to help them to edify each other, so that their children felt better. So thank God for the children, because that's how I got to be the divorce prevention specialist. People started telling me their most private inner thoughts, their deepest hurts and feelings, in order to help their children. And that's how we began to help their marriages, their relationships, their communication. It's powerful stuff. So now I go straight to the adults, keep them professional.
You know, when you say I go straight to the adults, I remember when I was a supervisor for this one industry, and interviewing the kids for a job. I told my boss, I said, can I do something that's not really in the realm of things they would do around? I said, what's that? Can I interview the parents first? He said, why? Because I want to know what this kid is all about. And he looked at me and said, no, Ron, HR put a frown on that. But see, I hear what you're talking about. Just like going to school, it starts at home.
It does.
That's where it starts. And a lot of people don't see that, because they turn their kids loose to go out there, and they go out there, and a lot of parents think it's up for the schools and everybody else to raise their kids.
Right.
And that is the wrong approach. The approach you took, I thought that was fantastic. You gave that little girl some structure,
Hmm.
and she avoided it. Then later on, look at her. She ended up doing it. And by the way, I bet she looked at you with them big old eyes saying, can I play with the toys?
She did. Beautiful baby too. She sure did.
Yeah.
She sure did. Absolutely. And
Um,
mom felt much better too. Once she and her and the father, they weren't married. They got married and they started going to church. They started
mm.
they started communicating. They started being on time to appointments. I was like, wait a minute now, what else is going on?
Oh,
So
wow.
it was a whole thing. They even began to earn new income. So your relationships, they impact, of course, your intimacy, but they also impact your income. So that's a thing. That's especially working with professional men and women the way I do. Your relationships impact your income as well. People don't realize that.
Mm.
But if you're stuck in your stuff and you're saying, well, I'm scared to do this and I don't think I can do that because you don't have that self-concept, you'll stop from getting the blessings that you're supposed to have.
Mm. Mm. Which leads us to this. In today's world, what do you believe the biggest challenges couples face, and how can they start to overcome them?
Well, the general answer would be communication. And but that has to be broken down because that's such a wide, generic answer. I would say the first thing is expectation. You're setting an expectation, but it's usually coming from your own personal experiences. So when you have an expectation of a situation, then you're putting that expectation on your partner, and maybe they don't have that same experience. They don't have that same expectation. They didn't read that same book. So, one of the ways you know if your expectation is setting you up for a losing relationship issue is the word should, should. So, when you're using the word should, you're automatically putting an expectation on something. You're saying this is supposed to happen this way. This is the script that I read. So this is the way the movie is supposed to go. It should go this way. And that's usually based on something that isn't being met, some concept that you have that isn't being met. So this is one of the things that I always teach. If if you hear yourself saying, he should have done this, or she should
Mm.
have done that, or she should have known, or I shouldn't have to ask. Something like that, those things, that's you putting an expectation that may not have been explained prior to. So, one, in communication, make sure that you're not putting expectations. And the way that you remember that, not to use the word should, is don't shoulda all over yourself. Got it?
Mm. I never looked at the word should as being so powerful like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's
almost like
just
you better, but you should have done
right.
this. So that's telling you, boy, I like that. I like that.
Yes.
So, you often talk about preventing divorce rather than just counseling through it. What's one proactive habit you encourage every couple to develop?
Enthusiasm and gratefulness. When you can have gratefulness and enthusiasm for things in your life, when you can find the positive in your life, not everything is going to be positive. That doesn't mean be fake, and that doesn't mean put your mask on. Be authentic as well. But if you can have enthusiasm and grace, you can be gratefulness. If you can be grateful for I'm waking up this morning. I'm grateful. My husband came home. He's okay. I'm grateful. My wife is keeping me healthy and loving on me. I'm grateful. If you can communicate what's going on for you and be thankful, I think those are some positive things. And then you can have a different perspective. When people are talking to you, if you have a negative perspective, thinking that I'm not good enough or I'm not important, then everything that you hear is going to fit into that conversation, that not good enough, not important. But when you become grateful for things, and when you become appreciative and enthusiastic, have some joy in your body, have some joy in the way that you talk to people, you connect better and you begin to believe a little bit better in yourself and in your outcomes. And that's one of the few things that you can do to help. It's a way to do it. We don't have time for all that, but it's definitely a positive thing to do.
Mm. Are you ready for the first question that somebody sent us?
Sure, I love it. Let's go.
This is Elizabeth from Raleigh, North Carolina. Um, she said her husband is mad at her now because he told her this. I wish you will be my wife and quit being the alpha male controlling person in our marriage. All I want you to do is be a wife. And but yet she said, he said that I am an alpha male. And she said, how can a woman be alpha male? And she said, please help. What am I doing?
Well, hello, beautiful Elizabeth in Raleigh. Thank you for listening. So, first of all, you're not a male, so you can't be an alpha male. But what he means by that is you're being an alpha woman. So I actually have a book coming out called Dating for Alpha Women Now, Dawn, and it talks to that. So before you even get into the marriage, you understand what is going on. So one of the things that happens, women and men have this is my man ear, this is my woman ear.
Okay.
They have very different conversation and very different styles and very different motivation. So what Elizabeth is probably doing, I don't know her, bless her heart, and the fact that she's asking, she wants to know, means she cares and she wants to do better. And I respect and honor her for that. What I want to her to understand is her husband is trying to communicate something that he can't really express. She is emasculating him in certain ways. She's not doing it on purpose. In her mind, she's helping. She's being helpful. She's probably mothering him. So when you don't give your man the space to identify what it is or solve the problem or something along those lines, then you're jumping in. You can't jump in. I have a secret that I talk to women when I do my conferences and things like that on how to help them develop patience. I can't give it to you today because it's a secret. I just told you that, right? But
Okay.
it's a thing that helps us to understand and to kind of lean back. If we can lean back and watch that man work, then we can develop that gratefulness, first of all, that he's making the effort. So now, here's the thing that I can imagine Elizabeth is doing. He says, oh, I'm going to do, or I need help with dot, 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 dot. So she jumps in and starts helping. She starts packing the stuff and putting the things and putting the places and calling the people. That's the energy of the alpha. She doesn't need to do that. This is a grown man. And as a grown man, he needs the space to know that you believe enough in him that he can do it for himself. So I would begin, Elizabeth, by one, being enthusiastic when he comes in. Stop what you're doing and say, hey, baby, I'm so glad to see you. Right now, I'm talking to you, Elizabeth. So, all of those who say, why a woman got to do all the stuff? I'm not talking to the man right now. I'm talking to the woman. So, listen to what you have to do because this is what you can control, what you do. So, on Elizabeth, showing that enthusiasm when he walks in the door. Now, he might be surprised initially because what is going on? What's happening?
Yeah.
But can you imagine how it must feel to someone to come home and people are excited that he's coming home after he's been out in the world all day dealing with all the mess he's been dealing with? Especially for working women, they understand it's a lot of mess. Can you imagine the enthusiasm doing that? So you practice that. That's the first thing. The second thing is believe in him. You don't have to help him. You have to believe in him. He doesn't need you to put the pieces together. He needs you to let him know you believe he can put the pieces together. What happens if she is wanting to help? She does it for him. And what that reads to him is that you don't believe I can do it myself. You don't believe in me. You don't think I'm good enough, et cetera, et cetera. And so lean back some. Try this, Elizabeth. Ooh, baby, that sounds like a tough problem, but you know what? I know you got this. I know you can do it. I'm so excited to see what you can do, baby. You got this. I believe in you. Can you imagine the difference in your household, Elizabeth? And then when he does it, celebrate. There's that enthusiasm again. Oh, baby, yeah, you did that. Yes, I love it. I love to do that. I love to do that for my man. As a matter of fact, I received the greatest compliment yesterday. It was from a little boy. I went to a luncheon. One of my queens, Mrs. Black Globe North America, Kim Moody, was being celebrated for becoming a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, an outstanding organization in her chapter. And we went to lunch. I was invited to her lunch celebration for that. And I sat next to her grandson. He is 11, I think. I may be off on his age, I'm not sure. But he was showing me his little backpack and I was excited about it. And he showed me all the little compartments in there. He was drawing and I was excited about it. And he was, and so then it was time for the food to come. He offered me some of his little sample foods. What is it? Appetizer. I had some macaroni and cheese balls. I never had those before. That was interesting. That was great. So thank you so much. I was enthusiastic about it. And the little boy, the little young man said to me, "You are so supportive."
Wow.
Yes. I was like, oh, thanks. Yes. So I want that for you, Elizabeth. I want your husband to see that you are so supportive, not in doing the work, but in believing he can do it.
Mm, that good stuff. I like how you put that. And people would tell you sometimes it's your delivery and what you say at that
Mhm.
moment. Because
Mhm.
if you're going to sound depressed, he or she gonna be depressed and say, "What I'm doing this for? I'm wasting my time." But if you're uplifting and showing that you're proud of them, boy, you see a little twinkle in their eye. Like you said, the first time I look at it, I said, "Is that my wife over there?" Never greeted me like that. Well, let's go. Come here, girl. Let me check your forehead, make sure you're okay. But eventually, once that goes on, you will see the change in the attitude in the relationship. It's
Yeah.
like a more powerful thing going on. Now you are that, excuse me, power couple. That's what you're
Yes.
developing, a power couple to go out and people recognize that's, oh, you know what that is over there? Or this is the presence I like. I'm pretty sure you get this because I'm gonna tell you, you get this before I say it. Is
Okay.
is when you walk in a room and people see who you are without even knowing you. They know you are somebody.
Yes.
And I was told one time when I walked, oh, you walked in the room, you all cocky and so I was like, no, 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 no. You're getting that twisted with being confident. It's two different things,
Exactly.
being cocky and confidence.
Exactly.
I'm confident anywhere I go. I'm confident. I show like I can. I show I could walk in there and I'm professional about it. And if you don't like it, too bad. You
Too
know.
bad. I love it. Confidence is key. That's true.
Yeah.
Cockiness actually, what's very interesting about that, cock, cockiness comes from low self-esteem. So you have two sides of low self-esteem that people don't realize. Remember now, I was trained as a therapist for, 20 plus years, right? Licensed professional counselor. And so cockiness is a mirror. You're overdoing it. You're going too much. So when you have confidence, you can lean back and let somebody have some credit or let somebody do some things. And so if I were looking at Elizabeth's situation, when she begins to believe in her husband, he'll begin to believe in himself. She can fill his bucket in that respect, and then it'll be reciprocated for her. He'll begin to do the things for her. He'll begin to do that. So confidence and cockiness are very different. Confidence comes from having done the thing that you are afraid to do, pushing through, starting the station, getting on the radio every day and doing the thing and talking to the people and being that guy, as opposed to cockiness, who's talking about it, who's trying to prove something to everybody, and it makes a difference. So I absolutely know that you have confidence. I could tell that just in our communication, just in the presentation that my queen talked to me about you. I already know it's definitely confidence for
Oh,
sure.
wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. Now, we're going to move on for the dating part.
Okay.
Question for you.
Okay.
For people who are dating with hopes of marriage,
Yes.
what key values or red flags should they be paying attention to?
So that is so wonderful that you said that, because in my upcoming book called Dawn, as I mentioned, Dating for Alpha Women Now, the red flags that you're going to be looking at are your own.
Mm.
You have to identify what you're doing, because the energy that you're putting out there, the standards that you set or keep or not keep, all of those things are going to be your own red flag. So you have to, first of all, one of the questions that I ask a lot of professional women is to explain their ideal man. One, they talk a little bit about their looks, but they want certain aspects. They want him. A lot of people talk about the money that he's making and the height and the this and the that. But after having interviewed hundreds, probably thousands of married women, it was none of that really made the difference in their um, their husband. Whatever he was doing wasn't they weren't looking at how much money he was making, and he certainly doesn't look at how much money she's making. So that person being able to have the space to see you and not trying to always be the one up, what is it called? One upping. It's no one upping, it's no competition. So when you find, for a woman, I'm gonna go from a woman to a man and then vice versa. So for a woman, if a man is telling you something that he has done or he's doing and he's proud of it, then be proud of it with him. Celebrate the character of the person who is saying it. He's proud of this. So this is a big deal for him. This is awesome. What I find a lot of times is we want to match it.
Oh.
That's the alpha. See, we want
Mhm.
to match it. We want to, oh, I'm making $100,000. Oh, that's cool. I make 100 too, or I make 150, or I make 95, whatever you're doing, you want to match it. So if he's making 100 and you're making 125, it's not your time right then to tell him that. It's your time to say, congratulations. That's awesome. That's one thing. Coming from the man's perspective, she doesn't always want you to buy her stuff. Not when you're dealing with grown professional women. A lot of times they buy their own stuff. What she wants you to do, like I had a person who handed me his credit card so I can go shopping for my birthday. And so I said thank you, because I know he was working hard and he did that. He really felt like he was doing something awesome for me. And I said thank you so much. I appreciate that. But I had to tell him I would much prefer that after you've done working, because he was working that day, so he couldn't take me anywhere. We couldn't do anything until later. I want to see you. I want to spend time with you. I want to talk to you. So later that day, he brought me one of my favorite cakes. You feed me and I'm your friend, right? I'm like a
All right.
brought me my favorite cake, happy birthday, with my name on it, and pretty, it was all pretty and decorated. He got there as soon as he could, right after work. He went and just sat and talked with me, because he was exhausted after putting in a 12-hour day, and he couldn't get the day off. He tried to get the day off, but he actually had had taken it up for someone else. So be aware of what it is that she wants, not what you think she wants. Pay attention to her. It's the details for a woman. So when you're dating, the details for a woman is what makes the difference. When she tells you she likes something, you can't write it down right then, but if you can put that in your file, your mind file cabinet, and write it down later, and then bring something like that as a gift. Not if she says, "Oh, my vacuum cleaner is broke." Don't give her that as a gift. Okay, I'm just
Yes,
saying, you can
yes.
give her the vacuum cleaner. Hey, I know you needed it. Just give it to her, but don't spring that up on her for Valentine's Day or her birthday or nothing.
Ooh-wee. No.
Uh-oh. Do you know something about that, sir?
No, no, what you were talking is my wife's birthday was just the 26th of this month.
Happy birthday. Yay. June
And
babies are the best babies. I'm just saying. She get
I,
to celebrate for a month. I just want you to know that.
well, it's over with come tomorrow, but when we first met, I watched, I listened, I did all that. So when birthday, Christmas came around, I already knew what to get her. You
Mm-hmm.
knew because she was telling me without telling me throughout the year, oh, I like this. No, I really don't like this. I prefer it. And I'm listening to everything going on. So when it
Mm-hmm.
comes down to give her a gift, how did you know? I said, I listen.
That's right.
That's all I
Ooh,
said. I listen.
ooh, you got all the points, didn't you?
Oh, and right now she be saying something, but I heard her talking about 5 years ago. Where she said, you really don't have to give me nothing for my birthday. I have everything that I have right here. I don't need all those gifts. And we don't exchange gifts for Christmas either because we got everything that we need. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm retired, she's gonna be retired. We got everything we need. But I do know the soft spot in there. She don't think to this day that I know it. So
Oh.
on her birthday, I went to her job and bought her a great big bouquet of flowers
Oh, yay.
and gave it to her. We went out for dinner that night. And she
Mm-hmm.
said, well, baby, I told you I don't want a gift. I said, you my queen. You deserve flowers. And
Oh.
that's what I did. And as of gifts, she don't want a gift. I got that point. I got yelled at one time for buying her a gift.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
get it. I get it. You don't have to tell me
Yes.
twice anymore. Those flowers went so. And matter of fact, I did it on purpose just to piss off her co-workers.
What those coworkers do?
Oh, them coworkers, they are some bad attitudes in there. And
Oh man.
they always talking noise and always negative. And I brought the flowers in there just to watch their heads turn and say, oh, you know. But I bought it for my baby. But I hear you talking when a man have to reach out and understand his potential wife or his
Mm-hmm.
wife. And
Absolutely.
one thing that I tell some men, I said, you have to learn how and do one of the hardest things that men don't want to do. They said, what's that? Listen.
Yes.
She don't want anything fixed if she don't ask. You know the difference between an open-end and closed-end question? They say,
Mm,
yeah. Did she say, can you help me with this? No, she asked, don't. Just be quiet and listen to her. Sometimes a woman just wants you to listen to them.
that's right.
And that's the point I brought. I said, well, so what makes you so I said, look here, sir. I'm 70 years old. I got the right to let y'all know what's going on and how y'all men can be taking care of y'all women. You know,
Please.
sex ain't always the key.
Mm-mm.
Understanding and talking to them and listening to them is the key to be successful in your relationship. That's just my opinion.
Absolutely. That's right. So as a matter of fact, sometimes sex is the thing that is causing a problem because if she wants you to just hold her or kiss her, touch her, she doesn't necessarily want to have sex right then. Sometimes she just needs to be held. She's had a rough day, she's tired. She might have been running around with kids all day. She may have been working all day, and she just wants you to hold her. Well, if you think that means sex all the time, it gets to be difficult for her to feel like you're paying attention to her, to feel valued. So, sex is great and wonderful if you're doing it right and you're in love with the person and you're not doing it with everybody. I'm just saying, put that out there.
Yeah.
You want to just make sure you're paying attention to your partner. Just make sure. Absolutely. And you say you what? You say you what? You how old did you say?
Huh? What?
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you now.
I turned 70 in January.
Wow, you look great. You are all right. You out here killing them with the good looks. I'm trying to
Oh,
tell
well,
you.
thank you. And I get out there, I still do my still carry my equipment with me, speakers and stuff. I go out there and just everybody's look at me, and then when I tell my age, what I say, so what is a 70-year-old man supposed to look like? Can y'all explain that to me? I
Well,
said,
if you take the average, he doesn't look like you. I'm trying to tell you.
well,
Yes, you look
my
good. You look good.
thank you, thank you. But I just get out there and do things, and I try to explain to the young men because I'm preaching to them all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
one said, "Oh man, how do you know what's going on?" I said, "Go back and say you just said." Oh man, that's right. That's how I know what's going on.
Oh man, got that wisdom, that experience. That's right. That's right. And you got a wonderful wife at home. So if they're trying to get there, they need to listen to the people who are already there. Look, check the fruit on the tree.
That point right there. Now, I sort of cut you off because you were talking about women. You're gonna go into men. Do you remember?
Yes, yes. So was that now I got to remember. Listen, you can't just be.
Those people that know me, I interview, I jump all over the place and do things, then turn around, come right back to and say, Ron, you can't be doing that.
So one of the so one of the things I did include the men as far as understanding to listen. That's how we got on the listen part.
Hmm.
So definitely being able to get healed for both men and women. Get healed in your internal experiences. So if you remember earlier in the program, we were talking about something happened to you as a child, and you carry that with you. Well, that is impacting how you're seeing and experiencing your relationships. And so men often have learned to not be emotionally available. They cover that up because you get told as a man that you're being weak or you're being this or you're being that, right? However, your woman is an emotional being. So I hear a lot of times the statement you're being emotional, and they're referring to crying or something like that. But you're also being emotional when you're expressing anger, or you're also being emotional when you're experiencing joy and happiness. You're being emotional when you're experiencing love and those butterflies that come sometimes. So what I want for men to understand is her crying is sometimes they could be like me and I'll cry because it was such a wonderful movie. I'm crying at the end of the movie. You don't have to fix that cry.
Right.
So some cries you don't have to fix, but you can hug, and that is a fix. It's not something that you have to take away. Sometimes that's that kiss on the forehead or holding the hand or something like that. So being able to identify emotions is important. And a lot of men don't know how to do that, or because in other groups of men, let me tell you something about other groups of men. Y'all tend to lie to each other in the group for some reason. I don't know what that's about in the younger ages. And I don't want you to speak on that and tell me anything because I don't want you to incriminate yourself at all. But I'm listening to guys saying, oh, I told my boys dot 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 because I didn't want them to think I was a sucker. You know how many times I heard that statement? So if you were true to each other, then maybe you wouldn't feel so bad when you're actually experiencing the authenticity of your emotions or your relationships. Now, I understand you're not going to have a cry with each other fest. I understand that. But being able to translate what's happening with your boys to what's happening with your woman, that's going to be a powerful, powerful thing. Be supportive of her in her emotions and know that it's not necessarily a bad thing. it could be scary, it could be uncomfortable for men to have to deal with their emotions, and that's okay because you are a great man, you have great things, and on the other side of that, Les Brown always said, there's greatness within you, and I agree with Mr. Brown on that. So that's one of the things I love for men to learn is how to identify and deal with their emotions.
Well, when you say you didn't want me to get in trouble, I'm getting ready to get in trouble.
Oh, okay.
We had this conversation about 3 weeks ago, talking about what's going on. And it's a group of men, we get together and we talk sometime. So we brought some young bloods in to hear
Uh-oh.
to hear what they have to say about situations. And I would say 95% of them were married already.
Oh,
And
okay.
so one came in and he started talking and everything. I said, brother, you know what distance do?
Ooh,
What you mean? What does distance do? Distance make you brave.
mm,
So you talking noise away from your wife.
mm,
When you get there, your whole statute change because
mm-hmm,
you know better to say what you're saying in front of your wife, but yet you're gonna say something behind her back and think you're a big shot. I said, you need to stop lying. I
mm-hmm,
said, that's why I said distance make you brave.
mm,
Now, me myself personally, people hear me how I'm talking, and I say, yeah, I told my wife this, told my wife that. True story right here. I sat there, my wife told me one day, she sat there and said, I left the back door open. And she said, baby, you left the back door open. Somebody gonna come get me. I said, trust me, they'll bring you back with a check.
you know what? I,
I said that. And I said it right in front of her. She didn't have no choice but to break down and laugh. She said, I was not expecting that coming out your mouth.
I was not either.
But it's things like that I say in front of my wife. And I
Right.
can say it to somebody else. I already told my wife, you go tell all you want. I already told her.
Mm-hmm. Because
So that,
she knows you're having fun and laughing, and
yeah, and she
yeah,
know my character. She said,
yes.
she told me, I never know the expect to come out your mouth.
Just never know.
You are so quick-witted and say something right away, but that one got me.
Listen to your wife lifting you up and showing enthusiasm and stuff. I love her. You
So,
give her a big old hug for me when you get home today.
okay. Well, so that's what I'm trying to teach the young guys. You don't need to brag about what you don't have.
Right.
I said, brag about what you got.
Mm-hmm.
That you'll be more successful doing that. Brag about your wife.
That's
Don't
right.
brag about her when she's around. Brag about her when she's not there. So when word get back, she would say, hey, baby, I heard so and so. You said this about me. Thank you very much. Oh, you're so. See, that's what they want. Oh, it just
I
gets
love
on my
that. Listen,
nerve.
we have an intuition. Oh, first of all, I might respectfully disagree because I want you to brag about her when she's around too. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm
Well,
just
I
saying.
do. I always tell every morning she look beautiful, and
That's
you,
right. That's
you
right.
then I
So
said you.
definitely,
But
I love that.
no, I asked her, you need a bodyguard to go with you to work today?
Sometimes she might have to. She be looking so good up in here. I know it. I know it.
But
Well,
you're right.
definitely,
You have to show that.
you do. I love that though. So women have an intuition. When you out here talking bad about her, not only will it get back to her, but she can feel it. So she
Mhm.
might try to ignore it. She might try to think, okay, well, maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. But she definitely can feel that disconnect, that
Yeah.
distance, as you call it. And so that then now that puts a weight in your household. So if you're out there flirting and talking and doing, she'll feel that. And you can think that she doesn't know it all the day. And you can try to tell her, no, I'm not doing anything, but she feels it already. And
Mhm.
it's in the way you move, in the way that you talk, in the way that you present things differently from, and it's details. See, you're all, as men aren't the detail people, women are the detail people. So it's little details that she'll see that you won't even see. It doesn't make any difference to you, but she can see that and she can feel that. So definitely talking about it. I was watching a pastor on television. I cannot think of his name, but he's married and he's talked about when the women come up and talk to him, his first thing is, oh yeah, oh my wife bought me this. Thank you. Oh, you like this watch? Yeah, my wife bought me that. Okay, oh the what? So he let immediately. There's no question that this is a married man because he's clear on that within 30 seconds of the conversation. If you're
Mhm.
giving him a compliment, if you're a woman, you're single, some kind of capacity, he's saying, "Oh, my wife, something, something." And in this, and the wife was near him. I could see her smiling. I could see her
Yeah.
off, kind of off, a little off camera, smiling and sitting up a little taller. That he's doing
Hmm.
that. He's teaching that, and that's how he is. And having had the opportunity to meet him in person, he literally did do that. This is not something he was just saying. I saw him do that in person, and
Yeah.
that increased the respect that I had for him and the honor that I had for him because he was a man of his word. He was a man to maintain and uplift his marriage. And even and one thing I would say about marriage, still maintain and uplift even when it's difficult. Marriage goes in ebbs and flows and ups and downs. If you think I'm gonna get married and I'm going to be happy, you need to back up because you just pulled up your own red flag. You have to be happy. It's not
Yes.
gonna, happiness doesn't come just because you're married. You have
Hmm.
your own stuff. And I keep saying that, work on your own stuff first.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna move past relationships.
Okay.
This was good. We could go on for hours on this one right here. When people, um, I look at most of my interviews, I look at the chemistry.
Okay.
And chemistry has a lot to do with the flow of the interview. And this is good chemistry right here.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
This is good chemistry. I like this. So now, as executive producer of Black
Yeah.
Global International Pageant, what message do you hope to send to young women and communities around the world?
So, absolutely. Black Globe International Pageants is the pageant that brings you to stardom. So, the thing that we do is we take these women, ages 18 and better, single or married. Oh, and the married women do have to be living with their husband and things like that. So, you have to, that's a thing. But we help them to tell their story. You have a story. And when you tell your story out of authenticity, out of honesty, then they see where you are today
Mhm.
and they find where you came from. You become an inspiration. Many of our shows, people come up to me at the end of the show or come up to the queens after the queens have signed autographs and they get to talk to them. They come up to them and they talk about how they related to that queen story. There's a category called the impact statement. And we train the queens on how to tell their story. So they introduce themselves for 30 seconds and they do an impact statement for a minute or two, depending on the competition. And that story is your story. You tell that story. I have my international queen right now, Mrs. Black Globe International, Joy Roderick. She's military. She is a survivor. First of all, she's done over 140 jumps out of planes. She's phenomenal. She's fantastic. Her family is beautiful and wonderful, and we love them. And she landed bad where she doesn't have a portion of her skull from one of her jumps.
Ooh.
She had to relearn everything. It's amazing. So even now today, you wouldn't know it because she's efficient and effective, but she has to do things in a certain way so that she can process information. And if I'm talking too fast or if I'm giving her too much information at a time, she'll write it down and come back to it. But remind me, Dr. Wynn, I need you to make sure, slow down a little bit. And
Okay.
she's phenomenal. You would never know that issue. We've had women who came out of abusive relationships. I had one queen who was married to a pastor and came in and found out later that she was being abused. He was suffering from PTSD, and he wasn't getting the help. And as a result, he was constantly being triggered and then was abusing her. And she tried to stay because she didn't understand they need that space to get themselves corrected. Don't help, don't fix it. Move, step back and let them fix it themselves. She didn't know that. I hadn't talked to her yet.
Mm,
So she ended up having to get a divorce for her own well-being.
wow.
And as a result of that, she was able to write a book because we taught her to tell your story. Don't keep covering it up. Don't keep trying to suppress it. So we actually are going to, in the future, we're right now starting production for a movie for one of our queen's stories, because it came to us once she was crowned. She's representing the country of, well, never mind. I'm not gonna tell you that part.
Okay.
But once she was crowned, some information came up from her past that somebody had to dig and find because it was over 20 years ago. And I said, this is part of your story. She did tell it to me in a little bitty blurb when she was writing her information, and she told me which line to go to see where she said it. So I didn't fire her out of her position. I want to now uplift her and be able, because she was honest about it.
Right.
So that's one of the things. When Black Globe International Queens come in the house, these women have been vetted. These women are authentic. And as they're training and as they go through the process, they become stronger, they become better, they become authentic, not only to others, but for themselves. They know that they are enough. That's what I want everyone to learn about themselves, that you are enough. I am Dr. Wynn, and I make winners. And from this point forward, you and all of your listeners are now winners. And so I want you to say on the count of three, I am a winner. One, two, three.
I am a winner.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you question that, or when someone questions it, or there's a doubt in your mind, I want you to remember you are a winner because your doctor said so.
Mm.
All right. That's what they learn in Black Globe International Pageants. And oh, please join us, some of the queens. We're going to send a delegate of queens, including myself, to the Essence Fest. This is
Oh,
the first time we're going. I don't think that we're going to be able to be on stage. We just found out about it, and Essence hasn't been able to connect with us. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe they will, because we're always ready.
yeah.
But we be there from July 3rd through the 6th in New Orleans. And we will be there, catch a queen so that you can take a picture and we can talk. We're also going to start recording while we're out there. We're going to be recording our shows that the queens will be able to do, so they'll be able to have more stages to tell their story.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, y'all always have a stage here.
Oh,
Always
yay!
have a stage here. You just send me something, say, I got this one queen I want you to interview. Fine, done. So
Thank you.
you could use this platform right here. And basically this is what the radio says, even though it's mine,
Mhm.
but I never go out and brag about it.
Mhm.
Anybody would know my, oh, I got a radio station. No, I don't say anything. This is your radio station. This is for you. I'm doing
Oh, I
this for
love it.
you. I care less. God just put me here to do things and that's what I'm doing. And let me tell you something about God on how he maneuvers things for me. When
Okay.
when I first started doing interviews, I was looking at who I wanted to interview. I got on Facebook. He always guided me to a queen.
All right.
Always guided me to a queen. No matter what. I said, God, there's men out there, but he said, no, 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 no. You need to take care of these queens.
All right.
And to this day, I don't know if you know this young lady, Dr. Veronica M. Brooks. She's part of the um was it 100 Black Women?
Mm-hmm.
She's part of that group here in San Antonio. So when I interviewed her, she called me back up and said, Ron, you need to keep on doing the interview. I said, well, they keep on bringing me women. Well, that's what you need to do.
That's
And,
right.
And I listened to some of the women that you interviewed, and some of those was real reserved, but at the end of the interview, they were telling you everything. She said, you have that knack to bring people out on what they're saying. Keep that knack. God gave you that gift. That's why he's giving you women, because our queens need to know that somebody's out there for them. I said,
Abs-
and I said, okay, so here I am.
abs- and we love you for it. We thank you for it. We appreciate you for it. And that is an outstanding, outstanding thing. We love it. We love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I would love for people to connect with me. I do have to get ready to go. I have a client.
Okay.
So I do
I-
still have a few individual client, a few, but you know.
before you go,
Mhm.
I want you to finish this sentence.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. Let me put my thinking cap on. Okay. I'm ready.
A healthy relationship starts with.
A healthy relationship starts with self-awareness.
Okay.
That's what it starts with. Now I see that, nobody was expecting that, right?
Yeah, yeah, you weren't expecting that, were you?
I wasn't. I know that's what it starts with though. So now, and self-awareness, because you need to know what it is that triggers you. You need to know what it is that you need to heal inside of you so that you can then have the space to know you're valuable. And then you can have the space to allow your partner to recognize his or her value as well. So self-awareness, I think, is what it starts with. And then I would probably say, in order to have self-awareness, you have to have God first, and then yourself, your family, your business, all the things. But you have to have God first. That way you can have an understanding and belief of your value and whose you are, not just who you are.
Okay, good answer. Well, Dr. Stephvanie Wynn, I appreciate taking time out of your busy schedule to come on this show. You are welcome to come on here anytime. Just let me know, and I will make room for you. I don't care who's ever that. I said, I'm sorry, doctor coming. I got to move you. But
Thank you.
it was enjoyable listening to you and everything. Before we leave, you want to tell anybody how to get a hold of you or all that good stuff?
Yes. Yes. They can find me at Dr. Wynn Global, WYNN. So DRWYNN Global, GLOBAL. That's in social media. That's on my webpage, which is being updated, by the way. So there's some things in there I found that there's some hiccups on it, but I definitely would want you to let me know. I can put you on my email list. You can also go to Black Globe Pageants, BLACKGLOB, like beautiful E, and Pageants, PAGEANTS.com, as well as Black Globe Pageants across social media. I hope you all come out and meet us at Essence Fest. Talk to the queens, let them know they heard Dr. Wynn on WAN radio. Absolutely. And we will be supporting and shouting you out so that when you are not saying it for yourself, WSAN radio.
Yeah.
WSAN radio.
Right.
I can't leave the S out. My first name Stephanie. WSA. I heard myself. Did I say WAN? That's not right. WSAN radio. To make sure we'll be shouting you out. We'll make sure we'll be promoting that. And so even though you're not saying it, we'll definitely be saying it. So letting people know you're out here and doing your thing. And I look forward to speaking to you again in the future. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. You have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to WSAN Radio. Catch us on our YouTube channel, WSAN Radio SA. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button.